Now, the third way to restrict what information gets uploaded to Webinary is by means of a mechanism called publications. Now, think of publications as a filter. It's a way of indicating which entries should or should not be included in a specific publication, and it's a way of saving that filter on an ongoing basis. You can set it item by item, record by record. Now, in order to be able to use this mechanism, you have to have set up publications. And to do that, you would go to the lists area and the publications view. Now here I've already established several publications. When you start out a Flex project, it comes with main dictionary set up, and that's the only publication. In this project, I've added several other publications, and I've added one that I've called Webinary. I could have called it anything that I want, but this is to help me remember this is the filter that's going to apply to entries that get uploaded to Webinary. I only want it to go up to Webinary if I've marked that entry and said this should be uploaded to Webinary. So I've set up all of these different options, including the one for Webinary. So now I can go back to the lexicon and use this value. So in lexicon edit, I'm in an entry, and if you scroll all the way to the very bottom, there's a section called Publication Settings, and there's a field called Publish In. You can't see the whole name right now. I may need to adjust it, give it some more space, so now you can see Publish Entry In. And it lists that it's going to publish it in the main dictionary, the children's dictionary, and Webinary. And for now, I'm going to ignore the Show as Headword In field. Don't worry about that. Normally, you can just leave that alone. And normally, you only want to deal with one of these at a time. But this Publish Entry In refers to the whole entire entry, whether it will be included or not, whether other things can refer to it or not. And so we only need to deal with that one. So how do we set these? Well, I could come along here and just select Webinary and hit delete, and it goes away. And so now this record is not going to be published in Webinary. I mean, in the anything that uses the Webinary publication setting. But I didn't really mean to do that for this entry. So if I wanted to add it back, I would click on the three dots. And here's a chooser, and there are tick boxes by the ones that are in it. So let's tick Webinary. So now there will be 3 publications for this one. So that's a way to add it back or remove it on an entry-by-entry basis. But maybe I want to, maybe there's a whole class of things that I want to remove from the Webinary publication. By default, when you add a new entry, it gets added to all of the publications. So in order to not publish it, you need to remove it. So in order to do that on sort of a bulk approach, I want to go to bulk edit entries. Now, in order to do anything in bulk edit entries on any particular field, that field needs to be showing. And I've already made the Publish Entry In field show. I did that using the Configure Columns tool with more column choices. It's already there, but this is how I would add it if I needed to. And notice that there are several. There's Publish Entry In, Publish Example In, Publish Picture In, Publish Pronunciation In, that you can control each one of those on a finer level of detail, and Publish Sense In. But so the only one I care about is Publish Entry In, and it's already there. So I will just click Cancel, but there's a lot of power there. And I've made the field nice and wide so I can see what's going on. Okay, so how am I going to do this? You know, I can do it entry by entry or by certain criteria. I could say I only want stems, I don't want affixes, or I could say I don't want complex forms. Now in this data, some of the entries don't have a part of speech. And so maybe, you know, just in this scenario, for an example, maybe I'm saying, well, okay, those are the ones I haven't reviewed. They're not ready to publish yet. For now, let's take them out of the Webinary publication. Now, I'm not saying never publish something without a part of speech. I'm just trying to come up with an example. It's perfectly fine to publish things that have no part of speech. So I want, let's see, what I want to do is I want to remove the Webinary publication from those that have no part of speech. Now, these other ones may have been set to show in the main dictionary or the children's dictionary, and some of them, for instance, this one, is not set to show in the children's dictionary. So basically, I just don't want to touch the other publications. I don't want to assume that I know that all of these get shown in both. So really, all I want to do is remove Webinary. So let me filter for the ones with no part of speech. I'll filter for the ones that I want to remove. So I will do filter for, I could use any of these. I could use choose or filter for, but basically I want the ones that are blank. They have no value for part of speech. So let me choose that. And then down here, it's showing me 5 records. So that's good. And if I scan over them and say, yep, I don't want those published to Webinary. And again, you will have different criteria. But this picks out those 5, and they're all ticked here at the left. And so now I have to set up the bottom part, the target field. This combo box is only going to show you columns that are showing and columns that are that have list values. So that's why there's only 3 fields showing here. And I had already chosen publish entry in, but so we'll just double check, make sure that's the field we're editing, modifying. And then the only way to choose it, to edit it, to modify it, is to using the choose operation. And that is exactly what we want for a dictionary. Now, at the bottom here of this dialog, you see that we have options of adding something to the existing items or replacing the existing items with however many I tick here, or removing something from the entry. And in this case, I want to remove the Webinary publication from these entries. So I will choose that radio button, and I will choose the Webinary publication. So the Webinary publication will get removed from the existing items. That's the plan. But we always want to do preview. So I will click OK to accept that. That is our setup. And now I will click the preview button. So now we can look. And so this one that only had main dictionary and Webinary is getting converted to have only main dictionary, and the children's is still left off. And here it used to be all 3 of main and children's and Webinary, and it's converting it to have just main and children's. So that looks right. I'll scroll up and down. That looks fine. So I will go ahead and apply this. Okay, and so now the publish entry in field, it's only going to publish it in main and children's, but not in Webinary. So again, there's 5 like that. Let's take this filter off. I'm going to use remove all filters, turn off all filters. If I want to double check how many are in each, I can use the filter operation here just for myself to count them. So I will use the choose option again. And so here I'm filtering for them. So maybe I want to see how many are going to be in Webinary. So I'll tick Webinary, and I want any selected item. If I'd clicked more than one, it would show me how many are in Webinary or the other one. But for now, we're just doing Webinary. I will tick OK. And so now every entry it's showing me is set to publish in Webinary. And I look down at the bottom, and there's 15. And that's what I expect, because I had 20 before, and I removed 5. Or I can double check that as well. I will go to choose, and instead of showing me any selected item, I want no checked item. We'll click OK. And so now it's only showing me the ones that don't have Webinary, and there are 5. So again, that's as I expect. But in order to publish to Webinary, I don't have to have this filter on. So let me go ahead and turn off all filters. It's enough that I have that set, and then there's one more step. During the upload process, we have to watch for a certain thing. So I will do File, Upload to Webinary. Now notice that down here, it asks me what publication I want and what view. So the view, I had it on hybrid. Publication, this is where I get to select. So it doesn't matter how it's filtered, but I will choose Webinary. Before I choose it, notice how at the bottom it's telling me clicking submit will send 20 entries. That's because I had main dictionary chosen. It would send all of them. Okay, so it is not at all automatic that just because you set the publication to Webinary, it's not automatic that that will affect what you upload. So I have to choose this. So if I choose Webinary, now it's telling me that it will send 15 dictionary entries. Now, if perchance I decided I wanted to upload the children's dictionary, okay, I could choose that and notice that that's telling me it would send 17. So I can send any of these. There's nothing magic about that name, Webinary. I could send the main dictionary or children's, any of these. But for now, I want to apply the filter that I set. I only want to upload ones that I marked to be included in the Webinary publication. So I will do that. And if I were doing it for real, I would click submit, and then it would take time, and then it would go up. But I will not do that for you. I think that's enough to illustrate the third way of restricting what content goes up to Webinary.